Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geek Cause podcast. Did I scare you, Kyle?
That it took me a little bit off guard.
I tried to take you off guard there. I think I probably took off. I probably took. Oh, today's gonna be a good podcast.
Good job.
It's gonna be a good podcast today. Look at me blow out my mic as well. I need to be quiet.
It's a great start.
So, a little different for me today. I'm standing up and recording the podcast because my back was hurting, and I was like, this might be fine.
So you're standing.
I'm standing right now.
After about 30 minutes, you're going to get tired.
No, I'll just rock back and forth. It doesn't bother me.
Oh.
I went for a, what was it, like a 14,000 step walk yesterday down my trail that's like down the road from me. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go for a really big walk because I want to. And then afterwards, my legs hurt really, really bad. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that my body hurts when I do things now because I'm old.
Oh, exercise hurt you.
Yeah, exercise. That's what it was. It definitely just wasn't a brisk walk.
Well, it counts as exercise.
Yeah, I guess so. It's better than doing nothing.
If it's like 1,400 steps or 14,000 steps.
Yeah, 14,000, not 1,400.
1,400.
That would be walking to the bathroom and back a couple of times. No, that'd be
yeah.
more than that, but...
Yeah, that counts as exercise. It counts as exercise for me, so...
Yeah, of course it does. It counted for anybody.
You know? Exactly. So it's exercise. You've been healthy, energetic.
I mean, yeah. But other than that, like, yeah. I'm talking about myself today first. I felt like I was important enough to talk about, so I'm just gonna talk about myself.
Mix it up.
Today,
keep the audience on their toes.
Keep them on their toes, literally, like I am right now. So yeah, I'm just standing and recording the podcast today. It's a nice little setup here. I feel like it's a little bit better. Overall, I feel like a little bit more ready to like go. Although I also don't know if that's going to be bad because I'll shift a lot. Like I already do when I'm sitting, but I can't move anywhere really. But now I can I can walk over here and I can go all the way over here, Kyle. Now I can walk all the way back right here. But I got to make sure to be careful of how loud I talk. So.
That was beautiful.
Thanks. That was science somehow.
That was science right there.
It was somehow
audible science.
Yes, audible silence. Science. Audible silence.
You are on a roll today.
I heard an audible silence once. It was so quiet. It was so silent that you could hear it. Have you ever been in a situation where it's been like that?
Isn't there like a room somewhere that's like soundproofed? And it's like the quietest place on earth.
Yeah, it's like hyper soundproof, and it's so quiet that like you can't hear anything, but you like can hear something still somehow.
Yeah, you can hear like your brain pulsing.
I feel like I played a game or I watched a movie or something where someone was inside one of those rooms and it drove them like crazy. Yeah,
they limit your time in them. You say you can't stay in it too long.
Yeah, because it's like not being able to like especially if you're really quiet, it like. The way that it muffles noise and stuff like that, it's really weird, apparently, for your brain. Your brain can't comprehend it 100% correctly.
Yeah, your brain just kind of freaks out and just screams.
Yeah, because everything's supposed to make noise, you know? Like, apparently you have hallucinations and stuff like that. It must have been a movie I watched.
Hallucinations?
Yeah, hallucinations.
You said hallucinations.
Yeah, hallucinations. It's a new drug.
Yep. Ooh. New hip drug.
Yeah, only the cool kids do it.
It's like
don't do drugs. we don't endorse drugs unless you're really cool, and then you can do drugs.
Like if you're Charlie Sheen, that's okay.
Charlie Sheen's a washed up old hag now. Like, have you ever seen him now? He's like pathetic. He's not. I don't think he's down the same path that he was, but he's
because he has AIDS.
He has AIDS?
Yeah, doesn't he have AIDS?
How did he get AIDS? Oh, probably from all the unprotected sex with hookers.
What do you think?
Sorry, women in the sex profession.
Oh, we gotta be correct in this.
Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with working in the sex field.
The sex position.
Yeah, the sex position. I like to do the sex position once in a while. It's like exposition, but you just have sex. That's how you describe stuff. Oh man, I was reading a book the other day, and I was just like, man, this really could use some more sex position.
Oh. That needs to be a thing now.
Oh my god, I bet you if I were to Google search it, it already is a thing. Should I look it up?
Yeah.
I think I should look up
yes.
sex position. I'm doing it right now.
Do it.
What do you think would possibly come up for like
a how-to guide. That's the first thing I think you're gonna get. It's like
the first thing is a wiki article. Not to be confused with sex position. This is sex position. In visual media such as television and film, sex position is the technique of providing exposition against the backdrop of sex or nudity. I'm amazing.
It's a thing.
I'm amazing. I knew I wasn't crazy.
You still are.
Anyways, Kyle, in terms of other news for me this week, the only thing that I've been doing is I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this Minecraft mod pack called RL Craft, right? And it's basically really hard Minecraft. It's a bunch of mod packs that make Minecraft difficult.
So the Dark Souls of Minecraft.
Yes. No, literally. Like once you die, you respawn in a whole new location, everything, unless you have a bed and spawn point set.
Oh.
And
that's kind of cool.
Basically, it's super fun and super hard. And my friend paid for a server for it to have it on there, and so we've just been playing, and it's been I've been enjoying it so much. I forgot how like enjoyable Minecraft can be, but it's also
great.
It's also so much more enjoyable too when it has some sort of like difficulty to it.
Yeah, it's like back in the day when I used to just play what was it called? Tekka. That was it.
Yeah, there's that.
Tekka.
Yeah.
It was like industrial Minecraft.
It's cool because I think that mod is like it's just like a mod pack, so it's a bunch of different mods that are like work with it. So there's like Spartan weapons. There's like you can carry certain objects in your hand, like a chest full of items. You just walk really slow. Like there's temperature differences. There's locational damage. Cool. So like skeletons almost always kill you in one shot because they always aim for the head.
Oh.
So like,
I like that.
It's locational damage. So you take an arrow to the head, you're dead. Like it doesn't.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage. And what else? So I've been streaming it. Yeah, I've been streaming while doing this, and it's been really enjoyable. Me and my buddy Jared have been like taking turns swapping back who streams when they streamed, just playing through it, and you get a lot of people that love to watch Minecraft streams.
Oh yeah, like Minecraft's still huge.
It got more popular again, if you remember correctly. Like the last few months, it became the most popular it's ever been.
Oh yeah, like I passed like Fortnite for a while there on Twitch.
Yeah, it was nuts. It's super
times.
super cool. But yeah, other than that, a bit of good news. Becca's visa documents got accepted.
Oh.
So
I actually didn't know this myself yet.
Yeah, so we're actually waiting to hear something back saying you're going to get your visa, or they're going to slap us with one more thing that we have to submit. But either way, everything else that we needed to get in there is done, which means like this is the next step. So super awesome.
Progress.
That's what it meant.
Getting there slowly but surely.
What else today? Oh, so I went with my grandma to so where I live, there are certain centers around that have like, I don't know, it's kind of like a government funded help program where like they'll give you like, generally older people is how it goes. It's supposed to be like senior citizens in the community have a way to go and get food and have social interaction and stuff like that. And so they basically they pay like $2 and then the government pays for the rest of the cost of the meals. And people can go and they can hang like older people can go hang out, socialize, get out of the house, stuff like that. And my grandma likes to do this. It's fun for her. I mean, she socializes anyways, but she likes to do this as well because it lets her get out, get a cheap meal, whatever. And so today she needed a ride, and she asked if I just wanted to go, and that I could go. I just had to pay like a couple bucks more than what she had to pay, and I was like, yeah, that's fine, I'll go, whatever. And I was expecting to go and see a bunch of old people. She told me that this location that they're at is a very slow location, so there's not a lot of people that go. But she said, like, you know, it'll be fun. You can get some food and you can hang out. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went, and I walk in, and there's 3 other people, and then me and my grandma, and then, like, the person who runs it. And it was just, like, a sad, pathetic room of just, like, 6 people sitting around having, like, a very basic very basic. Like I don't even remember what we had. We had like some sort of roast, but it was like a very thin piece of meat, and that was tasty. It was good. But then like some mashed potatoes and some like canned vegetables that were just not. It was.
This sounds very like grim.
It was disappointing, to say the least. And I was like, oh boy. And I guess more people than that usually show up, but it was like a real bad day. And like I walk in there, and everybody immediately started just shitting on Trump.
Nice.
And I was just like, what did I walk into?
Sounds like something from like Children of Men or something.
It was like, I don't still don't know how to describe it. Like that, like I had coffee there. Like there, I don't even know how to describe it. But I mean, it was whatever. It was pretty sad.
It
but
sounds fantastic.
It was all right. And
you'll see 6 months down the line, they're going to rebrand to introduce e-gaming as a part of it.
Yeah, like they're gonna have an esports version of it for senior citizens. If you're over 60, then you get in for free, and if not, then you have to pay to enter the tournament fees. And
exactly.
It was just exactly what you'd expect too. Like they were talking about old war stories and stuff, and I'm just like, this must be what we talk about every week.
Like really cliche stuff.
Yeah. Talking about having whiskey and milk. Or no, sorry, scotch and milk. Apparently scotch and milk is a drink.
Never had it.
I've never had it either, but there's this old man there that swore by it. He said, he was like, I was a professional alcoholic. I know I know it tastes good. And I was like,
I want to put that on my CV now.
I was like, I think that's the exact opposite of you knowing what to do. Is the fact that you just drank anything to get a book. Anyways, though, that was my day today and what's been going on recently. How about for you, Kyle?
Well, I've been in work lately, but over the last weekend, there was obviously Becca's birthday.
Yes.
Where we had a lovely dinner and many, many drinks.
A big blowout. Did you have any drinks?
Of course I did.
Oh, that's good.
I got the day off work for it. The day after.
Nice.
Because I was originally supposed to have the Sunday after off.
Yeah.
And then about halfway through the week, I found out that I was rostered in for the Sunday now. So I went up and I was like, look, I had plans the Saturday night. Can I at least start a little bit later on the Sunday? I already had it arranged to swap one of the other workers that were on. So I could start at 12. So it was grand. Then assistant manager Ken is like, oh, no. You can have your day off. It's okay. Just out of nowhere. Even though I was offering to still, like, come in and do my time. He was like, oh, no.
Probably saving some hours.
You should have... Yeah, it's like you should have got notice during the week that you should have the swap. If you had your plans, you have your plans.
Oh, there you go. You didn't even have to worry about it.
Oh, that's great. That's what you call a good boss right there.
That's a good boss right there. I tell you what, that's a good boss right there.
That's a good boss. Yeah, so I got the Sunday off, and I had Monday and Tuesday off as well.
Oh.
So it was nice.
So like 3 days.
I spent those nice 3 days off, and I spent them playing Elder Scrolls Online.
That's a pretty decent game. I enjoyed what I played of it.
It's like I hadn't played it in a good while, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a taste, see how it's improved, how it's got better. And
was the flavor delicious?
I'm really enjoying it. It was a good flavor.
I started improve upon it a lot?
Oh, massively.
I remember like they had the big overhaul after it initially came out. They had to like completely overhaul a lot of systems, and I played it like after that. I had it on the PS4 and I played it, and then I even bought it for the PC because I was able to get it for really cheap. And I played it for a bit, but then I just stopped.
Yeah, no, I've been playing a fair bit of it. It's been exciting. It's been fun. Cool parts of it, actually, the dungeons are actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't even think I actually ever did a dungeon. I think I did one dungeon, and it was kind of like dope. There's like 4 people, and we were just like running in, just doing a bunch of crazy shit.
And even like the open world, like dungeons you can go into, like you'd see in like Skyrim and Oblivion and stuff like that, are probably more enjoyable than the ones in actually Skyrim and Oblivion.
Oh, wow.
Because all of them have like a point where you complete the location. So when you work through it, I'm pretty sure nearly all of them have some sort of boss at the end of it.
Okay.
And it's an actual boss, like they have a big health bar and everything.
That's pretty cool.
And you get like little like achievements and trophies for like completing locations. It's like incentivizing you to like go everywhere.
Do you have to like play it with people, those dungeons and stuff like that? Or is it still easy to find people to play it? Or do you just play it by yourself?
They're the ones just in the open world. I just play solo.
Oh wow.
and I've had zero like issues so far.
I know there's like, what are they, like
Which is-
like crags or whatever the hell they call them in that one, or it's like dungeons. Crag.
Crags.
Yeah, what are they
What's a
called?
crag?
What are they called? Dirges or like some sort of some sort of
What are you trying to
like
say?
the dungeons where you have to group up with people.
I don't know what they're called. That'd be not called crags.
I think I'm thinking of like one location that was called like Donnybro Crag or something, and it was like and it was like one location, and for some reason I put that whole like that one location as the name of
Is all of them now.
Isn't there things that you have to be like level 15 to start doing, and then you do it with like teammates?
Yeah, there is like special instance ones where you have like your
Yeah.
teammates. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Did you
There
do any of
is.
those? Have you done any of those?
Any of the crags? I've done one crag.
You done one crag?
I've
Did you
I did one
team up with
crag.
people?
Yeah, just 3 other random people.
Yeah,
And
was it good?
It was kind of awesome actually. It's a
Were
good
you,
experience.
were you able to find it quickly? Like find a bunch of different people quickly, or did you have to like find them, or did it was like a party system that just automatically finds them, or what happened?
It just automatically threw me into a lobby with them.
Oh, that's cool then.
And that was something I was actually really surprised with. The amount of people still playing that game.
That's what I was wondering. Is there still a lot of people playing?
Crap loads of people.
Really?
It's heavily popular. Yeah, like you go to like the city areas, it's jam-packed.
They probably cut down on some of the servers, huh?
They probably did, I'd say. I think I think for Europe, I think it's a mega server now.
It's just one big mega server?
I think it's just one big mega server. I think we're all just on the one server now.
Oh, that's probably why it seems so heavily populated then.
Probably. But I'm fine with that. The world's lively. It's fun to play. Currently doing the Dark Brotherhood missions,
I might have to pick it back up again.
which is awesome. Yeah, it was on a Game Pass, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to download it, see what I can do.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
sure, why
loving
not? Does the Game Pass version just the base version, or does it come with like the different expansions that came out with it?
The Game Pass is just the base version, I believe, but I spent like €5 on, it's called ESO Plus,
Oh yeah,
which is like a premium account, which just gives you access to all the DLCs.
Well, there you go. Easy peasy. It sounds fun. Speaking about Bethesda, did you see that they finally announced Fallout 76 coming to Steam and then the expansions date, like a release date? After pushing it back forever?
Oh, yeah, it's actually finally coming out now.
Yeah, April 27th, I think, or something like that. April 26th.
'Cause I was going to pick up Fallout 76 just to play that.
I mean, yeah, because it was so cheap, but like they kept pushing it back, and like everyone was getting pissed because they were like, you said this, you said that, and finally they've announced the release date, and it is in April.
Who wants to place bets that's going to get pushed back?
Right, like every other thing.
Yeah.
At least it's though it's supposed to come out on Steam as well, so that's going to be a real big help for them getting those easy Steam sales.
It'd be a huge help. Yeah, especially in April, like that time of year.
Yeah, I think that's why they're doing it. They realize
in the spring, start of summer period, it's like it's going to boom.
So I thought about picking that back up once it gets closer. I'd rather just pick it up with Steam with the launch on Steam, because I really don't want to download like the launcher again. But I mean, I don't know. I know it still has a bunch of bugs and stuff like that. I'm hoping that most of those get squashed, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be worth playing the main story update.
Yeah, isn't the whole what's like the Wastelanders or whatever it's called?
Yeah, with the Wastelanders expansion.
Isn't that supposed to like fix a lot of stuff?
It's supposed to. It's supposed to add a lot of stuff that people have been wanting and fix a lot of stuff.
Like NPCs.
Yeah.
Human NPCs.
Which I didn't really have a problem there not being human NPCs. What I didn't like is that there was no NPCs, like anything.
Yeah.
Nothing really to talk to and like make quests come up. Everything. It was a cool concept and I liked it, but there should have been some sort of NPC introduced sooner, or more different content that like somehow. The problem is how could they introduce new content without having characters come in? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How is that even possible? So it's better that they introduced NPCs. I just think it should have been sooner, not 2 years later.
If they did it sooner, if they added NPCs before they added a battle royale game mode.
Yeah,
that might have helped.
That would have been way better.
Yeah.
But anyways, other than that, anything else new happen in your life other than ESO?
No, not really. I've just been taking it easy, enjoying life, living it to the, well, not really the fullest, but to a satisfactory level.
That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
Exactly. I'm content. I'm happy.
All right, well then let's be content and happy and start up this episode of the Geek Cause Podcast by jumping into our first topic, which is Rockstar's co-founder, Dan Houser, is leaving the company.
Now, he is one of the, obviously, co-founders of Rockstar Games, which he did back in 1998 with his brother Sam, and he's finally leaving.
Why did he decide to leave? I know that he took a break, right? He took an extended break from the company for a while.
I'm not actually sure why he's leaving.
I mean, I guess he doesn't really have to work anymore, and he probably really isn't doing anything as the head anyway, so him leaving doesn't really do anything.
I suppose so. And with, like, Take-Two Interactive obviously handling a lot of stuff for them as well. Maybe he's just like, I'm not really needed. It's obviously like with Take-Two Interactive, pretty much handling a lot of stuff on the upper levels anyways, because obviously that's their parent company.
Right.
It's not like he's as pivotal as maybe he used to be.
I mean, there's just nothing really. What is he to do? They have so many other people that are involved, and since probably Vice City, really, like, he hasn't done anything. Like, he wasn't had to really do much except for be like yes or no. Especially if he's just a co-founder.
I think he was a part of the lead creative team for the first Red Dead. I think that was the last
major thing that he was a part of. The first Red Dead redemption.
I think after that, their creative team was so big at that point they could do what they wanted.
Yeah.
It's like going from GTA 4 to Red Dead. Rockstar then just blew up to a scale they probably didn't really think of even.
Yeah. So what you're saying is his leaving is irrelevant.
I think so. I don't think it's actually going to have an impact whatsoever.
I don't think so either. It definitely didn't seem to have an impact with Rockstar letting Girls Game Lab partner with them,
which pretty much came not long around the announcement that he was leaving. It's like, our co-founder's leaving, but in other news...
Yeah, and why don't you tell everyone what Girls Game Lab is? I think it's pretty interesting, actually.
So, Girls Game Lab is a organization committed to teaching young girls skills to make their own video game.
Which
so
is
it's
super awesome.
You hear about all those things where it's like, we're going to teach girls, about science and this and that. This one's specifically for, game development. And it targets, young girls from the ages of, 8 to 12, who want to they're trying to decide what they want to do.
Trying to get them into
life. Yeah, get them in early. But Rockstar is opening their doors to Girls Game Lab, which is rare for Rockstar. They pretty much don't open their doors to anyone, pretty much.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Rockstar's is super secret when it comes to letting people into their actual studios, getting an inside look into things. But it seems like for Girls Game Lab, they're going to make an exception where they will get to step inside Rockstar's studio. They'll get to meet some of the developers and go hands-on inside the Edinburgh-based studio.
So this is their Edinburgh one, their Scotland one, their office. They're one of their main offices, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure
pretty cool.
Rockstar North would be pretty much their head office.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, I really think it's awesome when video game studios do stuff like this. It's especially not only trying to do something for the people back that play their games and stuff like that, but also trying to create an environment where it's hey, we know you're female, we know that your kind isn't properly represented, and you don't have a good, there's not a good female base of creators that are sort of shown you should get into this, or you should do video game creating, or if they do, they are not really wildly recognized. So it's cool that they're trying to push that, you know what I mean?
It's very cool, and it's cool for Rockstar for taking them in. Before, Girls Game Lab usually worked with Playground Games, which made Forza Horizon and No More Robots and stuff like that, as well as I think Papers, Please, something else that I forget. Descenders, that was it. That was usually who they worked with, which wouldn't be a massive studio. They'd be big enough, but compared to Rockstar, it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Rockstar's super huge, so it's kind of I don't know. It's really good to see them doing something. I don't know. Maybe it could be just a PR stunt. Who knows? But to be honest, it's pretty cool.
It could be, but even if it is, it's not a PR stunt for the little girls that'll be going in, getting to, learn about designing plot and characters, working with creating assets, programs, and stuff like that.
Exactly. For them, it's something real.
It doesn't matter if it's a PR stunt. It's something real and it's something cool.
And it's helping them regardless. I think that's another thing that people have to remember is PR stunts, doing something strictly for PR is kind of shitty. I don't think a company should aspire to do that. But when they do it, it still helps those people involved. I know that it could be more help, but still.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if it is a PR stunt, it doesn't matter. It's still good on Rockstar for doing this.
Yeah. And yeah.
Only good things will come from this.
And maybe we'll see a huge population of female gamers and game creators and game designers and working on game assets, artwork, music, stuff like that. And we'll see a huge influx in that.
It'd be so cool to see. And maybe this is a start for a little bit of a change at Rockstar as well. Maybe they'll be less, private and secretive about what they do behind their doors, and maybe be a little bit more open like other game studios and other development studios.
Maybe. We can hope so. I think having transparency is the best thing for a company, especially as it gets larger and larger. You would think, oh, it needs to be, more private because it has more no, the bigger a company gets and the more people that know about it, the more that should know every aspect of how it runs. You know what I mean? A company down the road that's tiny, that just sit there and sells, some sort of phone insurance. It's not that big of a deal if everyone knows what their earnings are, what they're how they're operating and stuff like that, because it's just small, it's peanuts, right? But when it comes to thousands and millions of dollars, billions in some cases, especially when it comes to Rockstar, and having that money float around and having them do things such as evade taxes and getting tax reliefs, we should know what's going on at every bit of that store. If they're getting taxpayer money, we should have every bit of information that's going on there. And I'm not saying that we should be able to walk through their offices and be like, what's going on, guys? But you should
know where the money's going.
Yes, and we should know more. They should be more involved in their community when the community is paying for their services.
Exactly. And that's another thing that just reminded me there when you mentioned money. The workshop for Girls Game Lab is entirely free. So you just sign up for it, and I think I might think it look of the draw, possibly. I'm not sure. But it's entirely free. So Rockstar isn't even making a profit off of this. They're not making any money from it.
That's super awesome.
So there's no hidden strings in this or ulterior motives even, because they're gaining nothing from it.
Yeah, like I said, the worst that you could say is that it's a PR stunt, but at the same time, like we said, there's nothing wrong with doing those things if it helps.
Who cares if 20, 30, 10-year-old girls go in there and realize that, oh my god, I love this.
And if that goes good, then it could have more things that are like that.
You just have to look at there was that indie game that was made by that girl. I think she made it when she was 16, but it didn't actually get released and published until she was like 5 years after the fact. Won a bunch of awards for it.
Yeah.
It was just her own little mini game that was her depiction of how she dealt with anxiety.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah.
And she won a crap load of awards for it, and it's
and even with
people like that.
Yeah, even with winning those awards, you still had people talking shit because it was a female, and they said that she only won the awards because she was a female.
Yeah, which isn't the case whatsoever. Because I played it, I was I heard about it, I literally dropped everything, bought it, played the entire thing, and it's holy crap, that was really good.
Yeah, that just shows the society, though. But it's super good if you're into that sort of stuff. If you have maybe a little girl, check out Girls Game Lab and see if you can do you can sign up your child for something like that. It sounds pretty cool. I'd do it. If I had a daughter, I'd do it.
Multiple workshops throughout the year and stuff like that. It's not just one day a year. They're constantly doing something somewhere. And if it's not close to you, at some point there will be something close to you. So it's definitely something.
The more interest you show into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of interest.
Oh boy.
I've
been looking forward to this one.
So people seem to be pretty interested in Steam.
Pretty interested?
Do you know why I'm saying that?
It seems like a light understatement, Cody.
Oh yeah? Why do you say that?
Because, they surpassed the record for maximum concurrent users online.
I mean, come on, it's only like 50,000 more.
50,000 more of like
concurrent
18.5 million.
Yeah. 18.5. So Steam just recently, I think it was 3 days ago, surpassed the record for maximum concurrent users, which if you don't know, that means maximum total number of users that are actually online at the same time. And it was somewhere around 18,588,775. And the previous best was 18,537,490. So that's at least a rough 50,000 plus users that were online at the same time. And super cool for Steam, right? Super good for Steam. But I saw someone talking,
it's crazy good.
And it's actually just really good for everyone, right? It means it's really good for computers in general. Because you have to think that we have like several different digital game platforms, right? And let's say, I don't know, 75% of people even. Let's say 75% of the people that play PC games are on multiple platforms. But then you have at least about 25%, and that's just at least, that only stick to certain platforms, one maybe, or one or two, and they don't stray to anything else, right? And so like you know, you have Epic, people that play, like there are some people out there that only play Fortnite, right? Or only play games that are on the Epic launcher. You have Origin, some people that do the same thing there. And to have stuff like that, and then even with those out there and those being decently popular, Steam's still somehow growing in numbers. I mean, yeah, you can say they're just more people are figuring out about them, sure, but or like maybe more people are switching to them as well. But let's be honest, it's just a simple fact that more and more people are starting to play on PC, and there's various reasons for that.
And this comes as well after I remember seeing it because a few days ago, something about the Steam VR headsets, whatever they're called.
Yeah, the Index.
Yeah, the Index. Apparently the sales of those have peaked again and breaking their last records.
They probably sold out again.
It's been just a steady growth ever since. I think they pretty much got them restocked and sold out again really quickly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like Steam at the moment is just, they're doing great.
I mean, Steam is doing great, and you know, the PC platform is just, it's doing great right now. I'm so happy to see people finally starting to like make that switch. Not that I'm saying you can't be a console player or a console fanboy or have consoles or whatever. I'm not saying any of that, but like there's been so many people that have shied away from PC because it seemed complicated, because it seemed too expensive. But now that technology is advancing and that there's these platforms that you can get games easy, and that, you know, that same technology that's advancing is also getting cheaper and easier to get certain components or like entire PCs and that are game ready. It's making it so much easier to jump into PC game. Literally, it's virtually identical to be able to walk into like a Best Buy or Curry's PC World or anything like that. Walk in and say, I want that gaming computer that's on the shelf. And it may not be like top of the line, but like you're still like, I want that gaming PC, and you can play whatever you want to gaming wise. And it's just as easy to walk up and be like, I want that, you know, Xbox One, or I want that PS4. Like it's literally becoming almost synonymous and easy. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing those type of consoles and stuff in those stores being stocked right next to the gaming PCs or somewhere nearby, or advertising those as well.
Yeah, it's just the direction that it's going.
Yeah,
and and you can even see that with like how the next generation of consoles are going. They're essentially just, you know, high-spec PCs.
That's literally what they are. And so the more we go towards that and the more people get into PC gaming, I think it helps everyone as a whole, because then it means that we can start to finally get to a sort of an amalgamation and a sort of just a hybrid where people are playing everything and they can play anything on everything, no issue.
Yeah.
Which we talked about last week or the week before.
Yeah, with like crossplay and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's
we achieve unity.
Achieving unity. And with unity, comes everyone's favorite Google Stadia, which is supposed to allow you to play on every device known possible and stream it, and it's supposed to be amazing, right? Except that it's hit a bunch of snags. It's not been as great as people said. The price point is ridiculous for what you're getting and all this stuff. So NVIDIA GeForce, so if you don't know them, they're very, very well known for making video cards and stuff like that. Basically computer components. They've released NVIDIA GeForce Now in a beta a while back, and it's finally out of beta, and it's pretty much challenging Google Stadia right now and saying, listen, even we can do it better than you, because it has a $5 a month price point for once, and that's just it.
Just $5 a month, just flat out.
Yeah, and so basically what it is the way that it works is, so unlike Google, Sony, Microsoft, all them that have these streaming services nowadays or whatever, it's they're the way that they're doing is completely different, right? So what's happening is your existing library of PC games, so any game that you have on your system or you're able to get on your system or whatever, you can play anywhere. So instead of having to buy a new game or subscribe to like a new Netflix catalog or anything like that, NVIDIA supports Steam, Epic Games, Battle.net, Uplay. I'm assuming if it doesn't now, it will support Origin and everything else. And it runs an instance for those in the cloud. So you log into your...
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you log into your accounts, download any of your purchases almost instantly on a cloud desktop, sync your saved games, because you can do that with those platforms, and then pick off where you left off. So you literally download those games on a cloud server, and like you use it like just as if it basically syncs up to a cloud desktop, and you can download your stuff on there. You can play it straight from there.
That's very cool, actually.
So like right now I'm looking at an article from The Verge, and the writer for it says that he's been testing GeForce Now on and off for a number of years, and he said it's his favorite cloud gaming service because he can keep playing games I've already been playing on my gaming PC on a weak Windows laptop, MacBook, Shield TV setup, or Android phone. It says that there's no iPhone or iPad support planned, but it'll bring a web version to Chromebooks. So basically, you're not going to see probably any support for iPhone or iPad. You have it for your MacBook.
Apple products.
You have it for your MacBook because obviously it's easier to like work off of that. But Apple is very, 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 very picky and particular about their iPhone and iPad.
Yeah, they're almost like elitist in how they let things like go near it.
It's a very closed system. So whereas MacBook has kind of opened up over the last few years, iPhone and iPad's very tight. So they probably either didn't offer to put it on there, or they just couldn't. So somebody said, or the guy that wrote this also said that while the streaming quality isn't quite as good as Stadia at its best, and I wouldn't recommend it for competitive gaming, I did beat Genichiro in the brutal Sekiro Shadows Die Twice over a GeForce Now connection. So, to me, what it sounds like is, overall, the streaming quality of being able to, like, connection-wise and over the latency, it's what you would expect from streaming overall. But it doesn't. Yeah. But maybe a little bit better in terms of connection-wise than Google Stadia. Except for that Google Stadia, has a 4K version, which I'm assuming this doesn't, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you do need an excellent internet connection, good router, Ethernet cable. You have to live somewhere that isn't too far from NVIDIA server. It's the same. But with
streaming games, there are things that are going to be faced with streaming games, no matter who does it. That's going to be the issue.
Yes,
it's always going to be, you're going to need a strong internet connection. You're going to need to be somewhere more centralized to where it's going to be coming from.
Yeah, streaming is just going to be this way. I'm sorry, this is why I don't think streaming will be the next best, greatest thing that's amazing. But, I mean, like it says right here, either way that you do it, you're going to need 15 megabits per second or better, 30 for 1080p 60 FPS, and 50 megabits is what NVIDIA suggests. So, it's kind of down that line of just expect the same limitations of streaming games total, but the caveat here is that you don't need to get the Google Stadia controller or have the Pixel, or you don't need to have to go through the issues that Google Stadia is having with even their servers, their connections and stuff, the quality of things that they have. You don't have to buy the game again.
Deal with a company. Yeah, you can actually deal with a company that's communicating.
Yes, it's literally if you buy your game on your PC and you want to play it somewhere else, you have that ability, and all it's going to cost you is $5 a month, which is also automatically better. So I feel so sorry for the Stadia at this point.
It's
to the point that because of their RTX, and since they make those graphics cards, their cloud servers are going to be able to have ray traced game, so you can play a ray traced game even on your cell phone.
Damn. That's pretty badass.
So it's
good job.
Yes, it's literally they're not taking money away from the developers by saying we sell it for you and we have to do this and you have to give us a percentage. They're literally the developers and the companies that it's on and the platforms that it's on, they get all the profits, and we literally just pay $5 a month and we just have it.
Yeah, it's this coming out now. You've got xCloud coming out at the end of this year. The Google Stadia is done, man.
Yeah.
Even if they try to pull it back, even if they do make all the improvements they say they want to make and try and make it desirable to get it, it just has no one. Everyone else is just better than it already.
Yeah, and also one last caveat that I just found out. It's actually free to do this if you want standard access, and you can get a 1 hour session length. So you basically get to play for an hour to kind of test it out, see how things go, or if you just play for a short period of time if you do the free version. So you actually can get a $5 a month for 12 months, and that's when you get everything. So there is actually a free version as well, just like Google Stadia, except for you don't have to buy your whole game only for the Stadia. And this takes away the fear that I was saying, if you buy a game, you never have it again if Google Stadia shuts down. This takes it away because whatever platform you bought it on,
it's still there. So
this is what Google Stadia should be.
Yeah, yeah. And if they did that, I just kind of created their own interface and infrastructure around it to kind of make it their own thing.
Yeah.
It'd be like, okay, you're trying to give us more gimmicky stuff to put the price up. But that would at least still be better, because if this does go belly up, I know I'm going to get to keep my games anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But, this way, boom, there you go.
That's beautiful. I hope to see now next week that more people are playing Destiny 2 through NVIDIA's GeForce Now than are playing Destiny 2 on Google Stadia.
I don't know if there's a way to measure that, but if there is, I really hope so.
Oh,
probably already happening. Surely it's probably already happening, to be honest.
Probably, yeah.
There's no way to know.
They could see the analytics going through their cloud servers or something.
Yeah.
Surely.
Probably.
So I need those numbers.
Listen, NVIDIA, if you give us those numbers, we will say them for free and just post them right on our podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about the information not getting out there. Because
free promotion,
just so we can announce it first.
But then if you choose to maybe want to pay us to promote you via sponsorship, we wouldn't say no to that either.
I mean, literally, if you want to just give us an RTX card, like a brand new one, and then we'll review it for you, or I don't know, maybe give us the founders edition of the NVIDIA GeForce Now, pass thing. I'll take that. Whatever.
Yeah, and then we can try it out and review it and have a whole podcast episode dedicated to it.
Exactly.
That would be dope. Yeah, I hope it does well. I hope it's successful and tops all the charts. But speaking of topping charts,
our segues are always so in your face. We never can just switch it, so we always gotta say, speaking of.
Yeah, it's all the same. And we both do it as well. It's not just me, and it's not just you.
No, it's literally the both of us. We're both terrible. But anyways.
We'll improve. Maybe by episode 60.
Yeah, maybe by double our age.
So yes, the Nintendo Switch, the worldwide sales of it. What do you think they'd be at this point?
1 million? 20 million? Maybe 35 million?
Ooh, close. No. 52.48 million.
That is nuts.
That is a lot of Switches.
That's absolutely... Let me give you an example here. During the 3 months before December 31st, so the last 3 months of the year, and I feel like we kind of talked about this before, but it's just showing like this is just another thing, is the last 3 months, the Switch hardware sold 10.881 million Switch hardware in the last 3 months of last year. That is nuts.
That is crazy.
Nearly 11 million units sold in 3 months. That's a little under 4 million a month.
Yeah, pretty much. If you want to like put like these numbers into great perspective, though, if it was 2.48 million, that would be the equivalent of, say, everyone in Ireland buying 11 Nintendo Switches.
That's not a good representation, though, because Ireland's tiny.
Yeah, 4.83 million. So
I think Michigan has double that.
it's like all of us having 11 Nintendo Switches.
That's great, though. I'd take 11.
I'd take 11 Nintendo Switches.
So,
And just to make Nintendo's Day even better, though, even better, Pokemon Sword and Shield had topped 16.06 million sales.
so much for people not wanting it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts. They also showed updated sales numbers for a couple first-party titles, including Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, almost at 23 million sold. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 17.68 million units sold. Super Mario Odyssey,
Wow.
16.59 million. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 16.34 million. Like, and Pokemon Sword and Shield is at the 16 million, 16.06 million, and it hasn't even been out half as long as Mario Kart 8 or
even
Mario
as
Kart
close.
or Super Smash Brothers or any of that. So that's nuts. That means that the purchase rate is like
Mega high.
yes.
And just to put those numbers into perspective, for everyone in Ireland who now owns 11 Nintendo Switches, that would mean they also bought 3 copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield.
For each Switch?
No, just 3. just 3 across the board. They have 11 consoles, but only 3 copies of the game.
Oh, that's not that crazy.
Because they bought obviously all the other games as well, clearly.
Yeah, they bought all the games. So that's nuts. So I think that
don't make me get the number from Mario Kart.
I think the good part about this, or the good part, well, I guess it is a good part, but the reason why I wanted to talk about it is just like the Switch is doing gangbusters, fam. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like how
It's not slowing down.
how has it done so much?
I don't know.
Like it's doing so good. This is more than 310 million Switch games have been sold worldwide. There you go.
That is, wow. That's a big number.
That's like a lot. I don't know what I was gonna say there. I was gonna say something. Wait, let me see it up. Let me see.
Okay, I got your numbers for you here now.
Okay.
So since every person in Ireland now owns 11 Nintendo Switches, okay, it means they got 3 copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield, 3 copies of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and then 5 copies of Mario Kart 8.
Stop doing this math.
There you
I
go.
got something
11
better.
games.
I got something better. So if 310.65 million Switch games have been sold worldwide, that means that's about the equivalent of 90 plus or minus percent of the US has bought at least one Switch game.
That's impressive.
That means because there's 327 million people in the US right now. That means that literally 17 million would have been like, we don't really want a Switch game. We just have the Switch. We just own the Switch.
And to bring you back down to good old Irish scale, that would mean everyone in Ireland, all 4.83 million of us, got 64 Switch games each.
There's enough. That's enough. That works out actually. Or
Yeah.
if it was 64 games each, it could also be about 6 games each for each of their consoles. Each of their 11 consoles.
There you go. Each of their 11 consoles.
So that way they can share it with everybody. Even though everyone in Ireland owns one already.
Everyone has one. Everyone has 11 of them. There's just a massive surplus in Nintendo Switches. We built our homes.
All right, let's move on to our last, but probably our most exciting topic.
Oh yeah.
So
Warcraft 3.
So have you? Wow, we're going back to the past.
Yeah, it's new. I don't know if you've heard of it.
So Blizzard released a remastered version of Warcraft 3 recently. I don't know if you know this, Kyle. Did you know this?
I did know this, Cody.
Okay. Now, this launched. Oh shit! When did it launch? Like almost a week ago now, I think. And
I think so.
If you don't know what Warcraft 3 was and is now, it's a real-time strategy game that Blizzard created back in 2001. 2001?
You said 1901.
Oh, 1901. When did the original come out? Look it up for me, Kyle.
Okay. Warcraft original release date was, drumroll please, July 3rd, 2002.
Okay. So July 3rd, 2002 is when Warcraft 3 was. Okay. Now, this is it was supposed to be a complete remake. It's called Warcraft 3 Reforged. It was supposed to be a bunch of enhancements to it. It was supposed to have updated CGI. It was supposed to have all of the features plus more. A new campaign story, I believe. It was just supposed to be the bee's knees, as the kids say nowadays. And, like, literally, it was even supposed to have more dynamic camera angles.
That's the seller right there.
Yeah, more dynamic camera angles. You're supposed to be able to record more dialogue and tweak the game's single-player campaigns to make them more in lore with World of Warcraft. So literally, they were going to make the lore correct for Warcraft 3. Like, it was supposed to be all of this stuff, right? So what ended up happening is Warcraft 3 Reforged was released, and the UI is almost exactly the same as the old version. The voice lines have been tweaked very, very little. Warchief Thrall calls Grom Hellscream by his last name now for some reason, but that's really it. And then the in-game cutscenes didn't actually make it to the live version of Warcraft 3. The camera comes a tiny bit closer, and that's it. Literally just a tiny bit closer. But
just a tenth.
Yes, the graphics aren't even that crazy, though. So, like, you can zoom in a little bit to see a little bit more of the graphics, but it's not even that good of update.
The weirdest thing that I see here is that it's not even a new version of the game, that it's been implemented pretty much that makes it impossible to play the old game without the new client.
Yeah, so now...
So, like, it's an option in your settings to switch to the old version.
Yeah, so now that I've got out of the way of, like, the main stuff, so basically what it is there's an option in the new game where you can switch over to the classic version. It's pretty much how it works. And so you can have the classic, and you can have the rework, the reforged version. But
that's so weird.
Apparently, switching to it's kind of like you remember when Halo Collection came out, and you were able to switch between the original graphics and the updated ones.
Yeah, but that was cool because it was a button on your controller you could press while you were playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, okay, so it's not a button, so fair enough. Let's just say that that's cool, right? But the real kicker behind it is that apparently switching between that causes errors and messes up the game and crashes. And there's
exactly what you.
And there's graphical errors when going to the classic version. So like it's the exact opposite of what you want, if we're being honest with ourselves here. And it's pathetic. Now, that is just all of the issues about why it's not as good, why it has, like, you know, it crashes and stuff like that, and it has those issues. But let me get into some of the real meat, some of the biggest issues that people have with this. So, one, it's what we've already talked about, is how they promised all this stuff. They promised a campaign and like different campaign. They promised like reworks with how the voice acting is. They promised to completely overhaul the CGI. They didn't do any of that. So not only did they, have these issues with the game not having, not working properly, but it also doesn't have half the stuff they have. It doesn't have the clans or the leaderboards that were in the original game. Okay? That's just not there.
Why though?
It's just not there. They said that they'll implement it later. And so now this comes into the second main point, which is a big one for most. If you own the original game, you can no longer play it from the launcher now, apparently. Apparently the way that it works is that you literally, if you, like, the original game servers and stuff, they're down. So you have to have this version to play it.
So they pretty much made the old version redundant.
So they made it so, yes, they made it redundant. So they literally, you can't use the old version anymore. You have to pretty much get the new version if you want to play with everyone else and do everything the way that you did, because it doesn't work correctly. So that's a big faux pas right there, right? But then they decided to put in some underhanded... But wait, there's more. They decided to put in some underhanded tactics, like classic Blizzard fashion, and they've made it so player-created maps in Warcraft 3 are owned by Blizzard. So what that means is if you create your own... So one of the biggest things about Warcraft 3, right, was being able to create your own maps in multiplayer and play them and have different modes, have RPGs in them, have it's where Dota came from, okay? Now, because of that, because Dota did so great and they had these game modes that did so great that people were able to make money off of, because League of Legends came out and capitalized on that 100%, and then Dota 2. So what happened is, because they don't want to miss out on the ability to make a game themselves on that, like if something were to popular to come up, they've literally made it so if you create a player like map, they own that. They have all intellectual rights to it. And while that may seem insignificant in the fact of, okay, well, I mean, it's theirs, like whatever, but like that means that if something doesn't come out right, like, or they just, like, let's say you make something really cool and they decide to profit on it, you can't do anything about it. If they decide to take your work that you've worked on and change it themselves and add it and put it whatever in there, add it as like an expansion, add it as DLC, like anything like that, you can't do anything about it. Literally nothing. It also means if you make something that they don't like, it can tarnish their... Like, we know that this probably wouldn't happen, right? But this is what it means legally. Is that if you were to make something inappropriate or something that like didn't work out right or something that could tarnish their name, they legally have within their rights, because you're tarnishing their IP that they own and the property that's theirs, that you could get in legal trouble for it.
It's the dumbest thing ever. I kind of think of, like, imagine back when the DayZ mod was a thing. That if the Arma developers went to Dean Hall and Bohemia Interactive and went, you made this in our game, this is ours now.
Yeah, it's...
And then just shut it down from there and made all the profit off it. It's no. It feels slimy.
It is, and the worst part is they don't care. Like they really don't care.
No.
And so when it comes to refunds, because people were super upset. This has right now, I'm pretty sure the lowest score in Metacritic at like a 0.3 for a user score or something like that. Something close to it, maybe 0.5.
Nice.
It has one of the lowest scores it's ever been on Metacritic. But what's so sad about this is when it comes to refunds, you can get a refund if you've owned it for less than 72 hours. That's the only way you get a refund.
Oh.
That's it. And then you have to go through their standard procedure of getting a refund, which we all know that's probably convoluted as fuck. But you'd think that after all this controversy, that especially because Blizzard keeps getting into controversy, you would think that they'd, like, maybe step up their game and be like, we need to fix these mistakes, we need to apologize. I'm going to give you a play-by-play of what they've said in a post regarding this. And I might cut out some bits of it are like too lengthy or like irrelevant, but we'll see what happens, alright? So, hail Warcraft 3 players. We've been following the discussion the past couple days and want to thank you for your feedback as well as your support. First off, we want to say we're sorry to those of you who didn't have the experience you wanted. So first off right there, They apologized.
It's your fault, not ours.
Yes, they apologized, but they apologized that it's your fault that you didn't have the experience that you wanted. Not we're sorry to those of you that we didn't create the experience you wanted. That's not what they said. They said, we're sorry to those of you who didn't have the experience you wanted. So that's literally saying, this is your fault for not experiencing right. Not our fault for creating it. Literally is how they said it. Now, they went on to say, we'd like to share our plans for what's coming next. There were a few hours during launch day where we experienced server load issues that impacted players' ability to jump right in. But we were able to resolve those later in the day. Alright, that's not that big of a deal. Whatever, like everyone could get past that. Before we go on, the team is excited about blah, 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 blah. Shut up. They're talking about how much they love it and they're going to support the community for a long time. One of the concerns with Reforge is that we've seen are the visuals when selecting classic mode. We've identified the bug causing the colors and shading to look different from the original Warcraft 3, and we're testing a fix that will be incorporated in a larger patch addressing this issue and others. We expect that later this week. Why did you release it if it wasn't good? You had people playtest this. Why didn't you make sure that was addressed in the first place? Why? Because you were hoping that you'd be able to get away with the different colors because you didn't want to have to make it identical because it was too much work for you. Guaranteed.
That's pretty much what that seems like.
Yes. The patch will also address some of the many other known issues, such as fixing some portrait animations and audio bugs, implementing some UI fixes, and more. So it's like, okay, cool. Whatever, you're going to fix some of those. What else? Another area of concern we're seeing is regarding online features such as leaderboards and clans, which applies to all Warcraft 3 players, including those who haven't purchased Reforge. At BlizzCon, we talked a lot about how the team is actively working on standing up to the back end, blah, 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 blah. We're going to work on it, and we'll release plans about it as the progress comes along in the coming weeks. They didn't even give a date. They couldn't tell you how long it would be. They said, we'll share release plans in the coming weeks. They didn't even say we'll release in the coming weeks.
I was like, we'll tell you what we're going to do in the coming weeks.
Yes.
And then it'll be the coming weeks after that we actually do something about it.
It just says, please rest assured that the team is hard at work standing these features up. Shut up. Okay.
They are in my hat.
Now we're seeing.
My God, Blizzard.
Then we see there are some individual concerns that we've seen that we're not currently planning to address, and we wanted to give the community a heads up. That's always great when you start off saying there's concerns that we were not going to address. Now it says,
it's like you have some issues that we're not going to do anything about.
It says, as of version 1.30 of the original game, we saw very low usage of tournaments and the Reign of Chaos rule set. So we removed both in mid-2019 in version 1.31. Eliminating the maintenance for underused elements has helped us streamline our overall support of the game and focus on areas of impacting most players. That said, we do anticipate that players who prefer Reign of Chaos will find custom games with similar rule sets, which we hope will satisfy that concern. So literally, what's going on there is there were tournaments that you could create, and there was a Reign of Chaos rule set, which is one of the expansions, and it's a rule set that you could follow that rule set instead of update it. They got rid of it in mid-2019. I'm assuming it was just for the original game before they released Reforge. They wanted to take it out. And they said that eliminating those allows us to focus on different elements because those were underused. So something that you've noticed people clamoring about, you decide to remove. After after removing it, they're giving you a bunch of shit. And you see this, and you acknowledge it. And you could just keep it up and just figure it out, right? And figure out tournaments and figure out the Reign of Chaos rule set and appease those that need it. Instead, you're not going to do that, so you can work on other areas of the game. You know what? Fair enough. I understand that you want to work on other areas of the game, and you want to focus on those. But imagine getting told that, and then having a buggy game that crashes that doesn't have half the stuff that was promised.
Yeah.
You know,
and something I find funny about it as well is that, like, if for players that do want that, there'll be custom game modes, you know, if you want to find something with a similar rule set, you know.
That we don't have to create.
They're essentially going, we're not going to add the thing that we made, but if you want to go play the thing that someone else made that's the same as we made, you can go do that.
Because we don't want to.
And by the way, to that person, to the person that made that, we own it.
We own that. And you don't have
so
to
like
do
you're pretty much doing our job for us at the moment. So keep up the good work.
Just keep,
we own everything you make on here.
Keep doing the work for us, and so we don't have to update it. So that's what we're focusing our attention to. Instead of fixing the broken, shitty stuff, we're going to make sure that we tell you that your properties are our properties now, and that's what we want to put our focus into when we could have literally been doing anything else to fix the game. So then we go further, and it says, now this part's really funny. Related to that, and the only reason this is related is because they said that we saw some individual concerns that we're not going to address, and this is related to that.
Yeah.
They're not going to change this, is what this next part is. Related to that, as we talked about last year at BlizzCon, we did not want the in-game cutscenes to steer too far from the original game. We went a little deeper into the thought process behind that at the show, but the main takeaway is that the campaigns tell one of the classic stories in Warcraft history, and we want to preserve the true spirit of Warcraft 3 and allow players to relive these unforgettable moments as they were, albeit rebuilt with new animations and higher fidelity art. So it literally was like, for those new CGI and stuff that the people said that they wanted to see, they said that they were going to work on and they were going to make better, and that they were going to change to make it more lore friendly for World of Warcraft. Instead of doing that, they're now saying, well, we want to preserve the integrity of Warcraft 3, even though the story's not legitimate to how World of Warcraft is at all. So we're not preserving that, but also we're just going to give you these kind of new animations and higher fidelity art, which literally just means that they made it a little bit higher resolution, which I don't know if you know, doesn't really matter that fucking much.
No, really doesn't.
And so we go on to the last section that they talk about here. We know this update doesn't address all questions, so this is already the end of the update without them addressing the fact that they own your maps, without addressing the fact that they have crashes and that people with the original game can't actually play this version unless they just have the Reforge version. Doesn't address half the shit, right? So now they're ending it and saying, we know that this update doesn't address those questions, but we're committed to the development and support of this game. Even though we just told you we don't plan on addressing any of those things. So we're committed to developing and supporting this game, but we're not going to do it the way that you want us to.
Yeah.
Keep an eye out for this week's patch and future updates, and let us know what you think as we continue fine-tuning things.
My god. Oh, Blizzard.
It's literally pathetic, right?
I don't even know what to say. Like, I thought Blizzard couldn't dig the hole they were in any deeper. And it's been a couple of weeks now. They hadn't really been doing anything. I thought they were keeping their heads down, been quiet. It's going to do a few good things here and there to kind of build their rep back up after everything that was the end of last year. But no. No, apparently not.
Now, I will come on record here saying right now that I don't think people should be giving death threats. People shouldn't be blowing up and going super crazy about this. You know, the way that you handle this is you just don't play the game now. You don't buy it, you don't play it. That's it. Speak with your wallet.
You don't support it.
Don't support it, especially because of everything else Blizzard has done. Do I think that everything about what they did was them doing it to... Do I think everything's terrible and they all did it just to screw people over? No. I don't think that's the case.
God, no.
I think this is another example of a game company over-promising and under-delivering.
As we've seen a million times before.
And then having shitty PR people, you know, just not admit their faults. And I know why they don't admit their faults, because the thing is when it comes down to it, you admit your faults, you can get into legal trouble. Okay? And they don't want people...
Then you're liable.
And you know, I understand that, but this is not the response people wanted. This is not the game that people wanted. And so I think that there should be, for the first month, if you purchase this game at any time, you can refund it. Because, let's be honest, even if you were to buy the game, you're most likely not playing it for the campaign anyways. So who cares if they beat the campaign in that month? Maybe they can beat the campaign, they realize that they love it, and they want to keep playing it. But give them a month, and then if they don't like the game anymore, they can refund it. Because having 72 hours is bullshit for a game that you know there's so much issues, and hoping that Blizzard is going to fix it is the only thing that's going to, like, what most people are going to do is be like, I hope this stuff gets fixed, and then they wait and they hold on to the game because they want to support their favorite developer. They want to support their favorite IP. And so they sit there and they hold on to it, and then all of a sudden shit comes out. They don't fix their issues, and now they want to refund it and they can't.
Yeah, it definitely should be a month. And for like people who want to like wait and be like, oh no, I'll wait and see. If they release, if they fix it at the rate they want to fix it, if they release, 2 patches within 2 weeks, and those 2 patches don't satisfy you in how quickly they're fixing the game, then you're like, right, no, I give up on this. It should give you time to like develop an opinion on what you feel with the game, rather than like, no, 72 hours, if you haven't decided by then, tough luck.
And I think the part that's really frustrating too is just, it's the fact that they could have held back on releasing this game if it was a matter of not being able to get the features out there. They could have.
This wasn't a game that people were like waiting for with bated breath.
No, like no one, when they announced it, people weren't even that excited for it. Like they were like, "Oh, that's cool,
no
I
one
guess,"
cared.
But like no one was losing their minds over it. And I just like, what this did is it disenfranchised the biggest supporters of that IP, because those biggest supporters are the ones that are going to be the most upset. And only hardcore people would, first of all, be playing it still and want to play it now. Like I had interest in checking it out, but like there was no way that I was going to pay even full price for like even half of the full price for this game when it's been out for several years, because I knew it was just a remaster. It wasn't like an actual rework. And to make it sound like you're going to put all this effort to make this better than just a classic remaster, but the only thing that comes out is literally not even what I would consider a full remaster, more like a 1.5 increase. That's sad.
Like a tweak.
It was literally like they did
like a graphics patch.
Yeah, it's like they released a big patch to it. They didn't release. It's not actually. And you lost content as well. You lost content for this.
Yeah, it's like you didn't gain anything from it. It's like if it's going to be remastered, it should be a case that you're releasing it with updated stuff, improved stuff, as well as all the content in one big package.
I just don't.
Not going, okay, we're going to cut a bunch of the content out.
Yeah.
And then break everything else.
I just don't understand how it got to this point with Blizzard and why they're doing these things the way that they're doing.
I don't know.
Why promise things that you aren't going to keep? Why? And I mean, I know that every game before it's released, people will kind of change certain things. Certain things will come different. But like, why is it such a trend, especially nowadays, to say all these things you're going to do and then only give half, and then say you're going to add the rest later or not at all? Why? That's all I really want to know when it comes to these games. I'm not as upset that they're not there as I am upset that you said they were going to be, only to lie to me about it. And I think that's why most people are so upset about this situation as well, and all these situations. It's not the fact that they don't get exactly what they want. And I will say about 50% of gamers do have an issue with not having exactly what they want. We both know this. We talk about it all the time. But when it comes to stuff like this, I think a large portion get upset because they get promised and they get told and they get advertisements shown to them and they get like these guarantees given to them, and then not even half of those things actually come out the way that it was promised. And
yeah, like barely even like an eighth of them in some cases.
And yes, it could be maybe misunderstanding for some of the stuff. All right, let's say someone's like, there's okay, when it came to Borderlands 3, he said there was going to be no microtransactions. What he meant was there's going to be no pay to win. There was microtransactions in terms of like costumes and stuff like
cosmetics.
That. And it was shitty that he said that. Maybe he did make a mistake, okay? Let's just say he made a mistake. That's fair enough. Yeah. That's not that big of a deal. But to say that there's going to be all this stuff and hype it up so much, and then even now to this day have that stuff shown of what you can get on the website that's promoting and selling it, like, that's, how do you justify that? How can you justify it?
You can't. There is no justifying it.
And I think what it really comes down to is nowadays these companies, I don't think it's the developers and stuff as much as it is that these big business corporations have these higher-ups
suits at the top
that are telling them what they need to do, right? And then those big higher-ups are paying for these sketchy advertisers and like PR people and these people that are literally out there just to promote something and make something sound better. So they pay big bucks to these people that the only thing that their job is to do is to get you to want to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
And so they'll misrepresent and they'll lie and they'll say whatever it is that'll get people to buy their stuff.
to get to buy the stuff. And it doesn't matter if they're pissed off with it after the fact, because they still bought it and they've made the money off it already.
Yeah. And also, that's just that person's job. Do you think that, you know, Tom down the hall who works in advertisement cares if something might have been worded in a way that could have sounded one way but also could sound the other? The only thing he's trying to find is try to sit inside of the legal limits, right? And to get it sold, because his boss told him, if you want things to go right, you need to make sure people buy this. I want 1 million sales the first day. And so Tom's like, I gotta make it sound good enough that people will want to buy it. And then that's when you have over-promising and under-delivering, and you have people just saying stuff, and the developers, whether they wanted to add that stuff in now or not, the developers' thought process is probably, we should tell them that we're not going to have this at launch. But the advertisers, the people that work in the advertisements, are going to say, if you tell people that, they won't buy it.
Yeah.
And so it's so sickening that we're in this sort of society where this is how you do things. When it comes to product, lie about the product, or just make it sound very, very far from the truth. This pill will solve you from, will stop you from dying. And, you know, you buy it because it says that. And then what it actually means is it'll stop you from dying if you were to take a different pill. You know what I mean? The other pill causes you to die, but this one doesn't. But it doesn't do anything else. And if you don't have that pill, then you don't have to worry. Or, like, this surgery is the only way to get hair back, right? But then it's like, then you find out you can't actually get hair back. It just has the highest percentage of people end up obtaining some amount of hair growth. It's just... Yeah,
it's like... We're telling you a half-truth.
It's misinformation, and it's to get people to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking sickening that it's happening in the gaming industry now really. So much.
And seeing companies like, you know, Blizzard, who before halfway through last year were, you know, a liked company.
I mean, and they were starting to go down the drain then. They were like it was like they turned on the faucet and they were starting to slip on the side of the sink. Because it was like getting wet.
They're still going.
And then they decided, like, then all of a sudden, midway through last year, they just cranked the faucet on and they just fell right down the drain because they just started to get mega shit.
There's only one way Blizzard can redeem themselves in my books.
Go on.
One way. That's if they give me a sequel to the Warcraft movie. That movie had $160 budget. $160 million budget, sorry.
I loved that movie.
And it made $433 million.
That wasn't enough for them.
Like, it made four times the
You gotta think, half of what it made was spent into probably advertisement for it. I remember seeing everything about the Warcraft. And so it ended up actually only making probably $150 million, which doesn't sound like that much, or which sounds like a lot, but it's not that much in that world. Not enough for them to make another movie. And I wanted to see that movie. But, you know, in all honesty, I'll give them more credit if they decide to split from Activision. Not that I think that's the only problem.
I think that's a big thing that's messing them up.
I don't think Activision is the only problem, okay? I don't think Activision is some big bad guy. We've talked about this before. But I do think partnering with a different company that doesn't have the same goals and aspirations and ideals can impact...
It's a conflict of interest.
Yes, it can impact on how you're working on this.
Yeah.
Blizzard made good stuff as just Blizzard and did things properly because that was what they did. That's what Blizzard wanted, right? But when you have another part, you know, another part of you saying, nope, you've got it. We want this. You have to make compromises. It's like in a political situation without me talking.
Oh, Cody's getting political.
Like baiting into who's going for who. But it's like you have some people over here on this side and you have some people over on the other side, right? And it's like the people always try to fall for someone that's in the middle. And that middle person says, all right, well, we'll accept some of this and we'll accept some of that. But what ends up happening is in people's heads, they think, oh, well, you're helping both sides so everyone wins. But what you're doing really is you're creating a shittier version for both people when there could be a better version of what they wanted to have happen.
Yeah.
A more improved version. It's a big reason why I don't like people that sit in the middle of the fence when it comes to anything.
I was just about to say that. It's like sitting on the fence. You're not going to get
you won't get full results. And I'd rather
You're not going to get a full result. You're just going to get mediocre results of everything.
Yeah, and I'd rather there be I'd rather the results be full shitty, because then that means that we can try and improve on them because people will see how shitty they are. Then
at least something's already better than it was.
Yes. Then getting
something's improved.
Yes. Instead of getting full, like, or getting just ass and just like not being good either way. Like,
yeah,
it benefits nobody. And this is one of those situations where these type of situations, they're not benefiting Blizzard or Activision. No. And they're not benefiting the consumer.
No one's winning from this. Yeah.
Whereas if they just simply came out and said, we're not going to have everything that we had promised, or they don't promise it and then the sales didn't do as well, well, guess what? They went fully into one thing, and they went into the committing to the consumer. They were like, we gotta tell the consumer everything. We're gonna do with it. Or they could have just been like, on the opposite of that, they could have said, we're gonna go full into it, and we're gonna give everything that we promised, even though it's gonna be really hard for us, and we might lose some resources in trying to do it. We want to make sure everything's better for the consumer. Either way, you have somebody winning, right? But this way, nobody won. The consumer didn't win.
No,
Blizzard didn't.
It just makes no sense from any perspective.
Yeah, so I think that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. I agree with you 110%. And I think most people probably will as well. Especially when it comes to something like this. It's like, it's so obvious no one won.
Well, so, do you have anything that you'd want to add to it?
I think you pretty much...
Sorry, I went on a tangent there.
You went all in, and it's like,
it's just,
that was beautiful.
It's so frustrating for me, though, you know? It's just so frustrating watching this as a person that loved Blizzard more than almost any other... I've played, like, literally probably every single one of their games. And so to watch them go down
you'd be a bigger fan of Blizzard than I would, so it's like it's that much bigger to you.
And it sucks too, because like I see these people that are just like putting out hate and just like not understanding Blizzard's perspective. And I understand Blizzard's perspective, I just don't like it.
Yeah, I get it. I know why. Don't agree with it.
Yes, and that's what it is. But
yeah,
that's it for that. Fix your shit, Blizzard. Come on, please, for once, do something right.
Come back to the light side.
Like, how many times we gotta tell you to please do one thing right? Like, how many times can we say that in a time span of a year?
Maybe the Respawn CEO should, like, acquire them.
There you go. That'll be good.
In the next 2 years, we'll just see the
Respawn
CEO
knows
of Respawn acquire everything.
The only game studio is Respawn. And it just produces immaculate games.
Just all the time.
So, Kyle.
So, Cody,
you have anything else you want to talk about on this lovely episode of the Geek Calls podcast?
I think that might be everything. I will say, to some people, you're probably going, but wait, where's the token movie/TV show section at the end of the podcast?
Everybody listens for that.
Yeah, I know. That's why we put it at the end.
So they have to listen to the rest of it.
So they have to listen to the whole thing.
Haha.
Yes, there is no movie news or movie updates or TV show updates this week. But fear not, for next week, as you may all know, it'll be February 10th for me, be Sunday the 9th for everyone else in the world, that place in America, the Oscars will be happening. So next week, there will be so much movie talk that Cody will probably get annoyed at me.
That's fine.
But more annoyed than usual.
I'll gloss over and forget that I said. Oh, that's one thing that we could talk about this week. Did you just real quick? What? I don't want to go into because like this went longer than I thought it was just because of the Warcraft thing. But did you see Joaquin Phoenix's speech at the BAFTAs?
Oh yeah, where he like called them out.
He got his BAFTA award, where he literally called out in front of everyone and said, "Do better at representing black people and minorities in general.
God, love Walking Phoenix so much. The balls to, like, you know, get your BAFTA, be going up, and in your acceptance speech, pretty much talk shit about the BAFTAs.
Literally don't even mention anything about you winning. Talk about how it's a shame that no one else is.
Yeah, and that's how you do it.
It was really good. I really enjoyed his speech. It was super, super... It hit the nail on the head for everything, and I think a lot of people garnered even more respect, considering that all these awards that he's been winning, every single time he talks about a big issue on instead of about himself.
Yeah, he doesn't repeat himself.
He doesn't repeat himself.
He's been saying something new every time.
He doesn't repeat himself, and he doesn't talk about how he's so great that he was able to do that. It's always about this is what can be done. People.
Like in one of them, was pretty much just going through actors that were in the audience that pretty much inspired him and are the reason why he's here today. And he said a few. It was Leonardo DiCaprio. And then he ended it with like, but we all know that I'm here today on the shoulders of Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
and it's like...
He's a brilliant man.
It's your best actor acceptance speech, and you're pretty much praising everyone else in the room.
Good, and that's how it should be. Using your spotlight to benefit others that can't get into that spotlight, or that, you know, maybe deserve to be in that spotlight but aren't. That's the way to use your platform, and I'm full in support of it.
And if he wins Best Actor at the Oscars next week, I look forward to that speech.
Oh, that'll be a real good one. I think he'll have a lot to say.
That'll be a very good one. Oh, yeah.
But as for us and what we have to say...
Whole episode just for his speech.
Oh, we will. Yeah, it'll be great.
Just saying.
But for what we have to say, I think we've said it all.
I think we have.
At least for this week. Don't fret.
For this
we'll
week,
be back.
We'll have a lot more to say next week.
Yes, as we
you can't get rid of that easily.
As we always do. So, thank you guys so much for listening.
We love you.
We appreciate you.
You're the best.
And goodbye.
Bye.